What's going on, everybody? So I'm in a party right now as a servant, and I am gonna show you guys how mirror coat works. So mirror coat gives whoever I want a clone. Now if you guys are not familiar with ninjas, a clone is a duplicate of you that, if you get attacked, will take your place for the attack. So if you have a clone on you and you get hit once, then you lose one clone. And that's how it works. So if you keep repeating the clone and every time they attack, your HP shouldn't drop. So let me show you what I'm gonna do with these guys who are attacking. I'm gonna keep mirror coating them, and as they attack, their HP will barely drop because every hit from Yardi takes a clone instead of taking HP. And for the servant, if I actually connect to somebody, the heal rate is higher. If I don't connect to somebody, it's much lower. So it's always best to connect. But depending on the type of servant you are, who you connect to, some people like it, some people don't, because you affect their stats. So before, I was told that mirror coat works similar to revive, and I guess in some ways it does, but there are some differences. So for revive, it is not a clone. When you're using a skill such as resurrection, what happens is it only activates upon your death. So if you don't die, your resurrection or revive will still be there on you as a buff. If you do die, then that buff will bring you back to life and you still have all your buffs. However, for cloning, it uses the clone every time they get hit, so it's not like, it will save your life after you die. It just will take a hit for you. So as you can see, I'm actually cloning 2 high wizards here. Here's the party. And if done right, they actually should be able to survive all these attacks because they have clones on them like a ninja would. So it's pretty hard to die. But when they get attacked by 3 monsters or whatnot, then 3 monsters are hitting at once, and the clone will take one of those hits, but they'll still get hit. So that's a way that they can die. But if they're fighting 1 Yardi at a time and I'm spamming mirror coat, it's pretty hard to die. And then when I reached 200, there was also Vitalize. And Vitalize actually gives more max HP and MP, so it's very useful, but it's very bad for ninjas because ninjas tend to want to clone, and they cannot clone with the Vitalize max HP MP buffs. Unless you're an SK ninja, which it doesn't really matter, then it's all good. So I've been trying to play with different servant builds. I'm actually working on 2 equipments that will complement it. One equipment type would be skill delay, which I have on pretty much right now, very fast casting. And then the second set of equipment is actually for damage, which my stats are like a ninja, so I actually use equipment such as special bow, mirage. I'll show you guys a little bit more of what I mean another time with the stats of the servant. But this episode is really to talk in general about the two skills that the servant gets when they're 200, which is Mirror Coat and also Vitalize, and how they affect the party and how it works. So at times like this, I have a shield here and a shield here, and I want to make sure that I always have the Highness Bless on. So right now I'm 210 at 260, all the way from 15 to 260 you will get a buff that gives 1000 XP as long as you're willing to farm. So as you can see, I am farming to get that 1000 XP, and every time a Yardie dies for me, I get XP, and the XP is high. Let me show you when I actually get in a little bit. $1,600,000 and something XP, and I don't even have Happy New Year on, so when I type that as well, there will be a buff, and the buff is 20% more for 30 minutes. So this party does not have a bishop. Usually these high wizards require one because they die because the EQ and the blizzard aggroes too much and they get chased. So I'm actually doing pretty well as a bishop job, being replaced by a servant. Now the bishop has very high amounts of heal. A bishop typically can heal at 15k or whatnot, and especially since I am not in my intelligence build, it's very hard for me to heal at a very high number. But because Miracle is here and we have blesses, as long as I'm able to consistently Miracle them, their HP should not really drop. So occasionally that does happen. I will die myself. I don't know what happened there or why I wasn't able to heal them. It seems like there may have been some sort of lag. So I will go back out there and rebuff them. See, Vinny actually seemed like he lagged out or something. So let me reconnect and do all the buffs. So we have Bless, and then we have Shield of Light, Mirror Coat, Mirror Coat, Mirror Coat, Vitalize, Aegis, and Soul Connect. So they partied a bishop. which I guess is a good thing as well, because the bishop now can cast resurrection on them, and I can be just mirror coding so they don't get too messed up in fights, and the bishop can take care of most of the healing, which the bishop is not doing at the moment. So my build type is agility and crit, and actually is very great for high wizards. Ninjas hate it because they have these stats and they're like, why do you need to connect to me? I have all these stats maxed, so it doesn't really matter to them. But for a high wizard, especially if you are not a crit type, I'm giving you crit. So what that is doing is actually giving you spell burst rate. I'm giving you higher spell burst rate, and then on top of that, the agility is evasion, so I'm giving you evasion as well. And with mirror coat, you're getting an extra clone, so now you have evasion, cloning, and spell burst, in which if you were not crit type, you won't have. Now if you are crit type, then you already have spell burst in a good amount, in which I can't give you any bonuses, but I will still give you evasion, and connecting allows me to heal you at a higher rate. Well, connecting to anybody allows me to heal anyone at a higher rate once connected. So the main task of the servant would actually just be miracle and probably stone skin all day. And working with the bishop is actually pretty good, because what's going on is if the bishop has a hard time healing them, the mirror coat stops them from getting the damage, and so that the small amounts of heals can actually do the job versus using big amounts of heal. So it seems like this is the life of a servant. And let me tell you one more thing. Mirror Coat's range is not very far, so I actually can't just stand in the back like the bishops usually do to cast it. It seems like I have to be a little bit closer than they are, than usually where the support is, in order to mirror coat. So I believe the way that the servant was made was that I should be in the middle of the battle with everyone else instead of in the sidelines healing and supporting. So I chose the agility stat for that reason, so that I have evasion in which I can be there and miracle myself and not always get hit. So I know I'm not using the special bow right now. It's because it's a little bit slower, so I can't miracle them as fast. So I think I've covered almost everything on this video. This was a request actually to build a servant from you guys. I've asked you before, you know, which classes do you think my next character should be. There were some votes on servant and some votes on monk, and ultimately I decided that I would try out the servant. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video about the servant, and maybe if you didn't know about Miracle, that you can see it in action as to what Miracle is doing for them. So every time Miracle works and they get hit once, it will tell them that they lost a clone, so all clones are destroyed. And the coolest thing about the Miracle is that it doesn't matter really from whether they got hit for 1 damage or 100 damage or 1000 damage. As long as the Miracle is there, it will take that hit. So I guess that's it. Thank you for watching.